Samson Mow's final warning is a slap in the face. If the US doesn't start building a strategic Bitcoin reserve, it risks being outpaced by nations that already have a head start. While Washington kicks the can down the road yet again, now even floating the idea of removing the debt ceiling entirely, other countries are watching closely and moving fast. Mao isn't just making vague warnings, though. He's putting a number on it. He's telling governments exactly how much Bitcoin they need to secure their future. So the question becomes, which countries are actually making moves? And how much Bitcoin will they need according to Mao's plan? Today, we're going to break down the numbers, the countries that are in motion, and what it all means for the US if they fail to act in time. This isn't just about stacking sats, it's about strategic survival. Let me break this down for my fellow Bitcoiners. In just 8 weeks, I've seen a serious shift, more strength, more energy, and fast muscle gains. The reason? FITSCRIPT. They ran 124 biomarkers, blood, hormones, inflammation, and built a fully custom plan, nutrition, training, supplements. No guesswork, no templates. This is functional medicine meets precision fitness for high-performing men who want sovereignty over their health. If you care about optimization the way you care about your money, test, don't guess. Don't trust, verify. Hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to check out FITSCRIPT and see what's possible. Let's dive into what's going on here, what Samson Mow said in regards to nation states and the U.S. being front run here. And let's just get us pretty over off to the side here. And so this is over here on Cointelegraph. The title is U.S. Risks Being Front Run on Bitcoin Reserve by Other Nations. And so basically, Samson Mow said it would be incredibly ironic and unfortunate that the U.S., which took bold steps, and the Trump administration, which took bold steps to push this forward, gets front run by other nation states that are inspired by their own actions. It's been 3 months since Trump signed the executive order, and Mow says the U.S. has to start acquiring Bitcoin this year. The risk is that the U.S. is front run by, for example, Pakistan, and they were on the stage at Las Vegas saying, "You inspired us to start." And it's not just Pakistan that is starting to look at this. There's plenty of other examples. And in terms of how much Bitcoin Mow is advising nation states to stack, this was actually a tweet from back in 2023, where he said, "I'd say nation states should aim to accumulate at least 200,000 Bitcoin in their treasuries." This was at a time when MicroStrategy had 132,000 Bitcoin. So a nation state should have more than a corporation. Well, I mean, MicroStrategy, as of right now, they're sitting at 580,955 Bitcoin. So if the reasoning of Samson Mow still stands and he thinks that nation states should have more than corporations, then he's basically saying like 600K Bitcoin per nation state, which clearly there's just not enough to go around. But with that said, a quick kind of rundown of some of the examples of nations that could be in the running to actually front run the US in something like this. So here's Samson himself saying, and by the way, this was in May, made a short stop in Taiwan after Japan to meet with JC to discuss the urgency for a Bitcoin strategy as the time left to accumulate a good size reserve is short. We talked about Bitcoin and only Bitcoin and its role in national security and financial stability. They've been laying the groundwork for Bitcoin in Taiwan by getting the regulator to allow Taiwanese investors to access foreign Bitcoin ETFs. 6 months ago, he also initiated discussions with several government officials about a Taiwanese Bitcoin strategy. We agree with Trump's executive order creating an SBR in the US. Now the time is to advance it in Taiwan. There are others as well. So here's Samson Mow tweeting out the election of the pro-Bitcoin Democratic Party candidate in South Korea just recently, as of a few days ago, I believe.
Yep.
We also, of course, as Samson Mow had mentioned, Pakistan following in the US footsteps. They announced this on stage at Bitcoin 2025. Furthermore, an outlier that you would not expect, especially with their recently, their multitude of draconian actions, but the UK, Nigel Farage, he is the Reform Party lead, and he vows to establish a Bitcoin reserve and pass, quote, pro-crypto legislation once he's in government. The UK is just an absolute mess, so who knows? He might actually stand a chance. And then even just back as far as just a month ago, Ukraine strategic Bitcoin reserve bill reportedly in final stages. And of course, Poland also has recently elected a pro-Bitcoin president. No specifics in and around reserves there, but that could be interesting as well. And so all in all, there's a ton of kind of clamoring around this. Part of it, of course, is the US has made some moves, although not yet followed through on them. And so that's part of it. But on the other side of things, it's just the general actions of the US. I think they're seeing some of the writing on the wall in and around what they're about to do with their spending and monetary policy, which we'll get into in a little bit. But with that, Nathan, I'm kind of curious your thoughts on this idea of the US ironically being front run on their own policy of a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Do you think that there's some people chomping at the bit to get it going in their own countries, and will they be successful before the US?
Well, I mean, like everybody has the same incentives to get as much as they can and to pile in as soon as they can too. I found it interesting, and I guess it's probably just kind of on accident too, that essentially Mao was originally proposing 1% of the supply. It's like you got to get in there and get roughly 1% of that supply. In terms of like other nations moving in, they'd have to move aggressively. But I agree that to his point, to announce it to the world, to begin, to rebrand the Bitcoin that you already had. That was the starting gun. And there's no benefit whatsoever by one announcing it and then not running it. You got to do the Michael Saylor strategy, right? You buy and announce to the world. You buy and announce to the world, and you just keep going and keep accumulating. They're even if that time is not now, there will be a point in time. So they absolutely, like, the clock is ticking. Eventually, somebody else is going to step up and move hard. There are big players that could try to make a sizable move. The U.S. has all the advantage in the world to make it happen now, so they have no reason to sit back on it. And funny enough, too, even speaking with Stephen last night from the Bitcoin Policy Institute, he mentioned that something like 40% of Bitcoin is currently held in the U.S., not by the U.S., but just held in the U.S. You're already kind of the epicenter of Bitcoin. You might as well just keep pushing forward.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. There may be some movement that is happening. This was just the other day, but Bo Hines, he's the head of digital asset strategy for the White House, and he did meet with Nayib Bukele, and they did discuss some of the strategy in and around that. And we don't have a ton of information, but it does indicate that the US is starting to figure out what they want to do with it. But man, it's the bureaucracy that gets in the way. It's not like you can just decide on something and go. All this stuff just gets caught up in so much red tape, and it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. The US is just going to be, while at the same time pioneering a movement to a degree. I know El Salvador did it first, but pioneering a movement on a global stage, but then stuck unable to push it forward and giving people the space to do it first. So I don't know. Anybody watching this, if you're looking for a takeaway for yourself, you still have time to stack before the US does. So, get on it, I would suppose.
Get in there and make it happen too. From like the people that I've been talking to, I kind of got put on blast a little bit. I don't think I was giving Senator Lummis's Bitcoin Act enough credit. I really had kind of dismissed it in my mind that it wasn't going to come to fruition. But realistically, like, I didn't see the existing strategic Bitcoin reserve. Like, I was even, kind of questioning whether an ETF would ever be possible. And that wasn't that long ago as well, too. So you're right. If you still have time, get in there, push it, get your own stack as fast as you can, because somebody's going to move. And to that point, man, I just want to say, I love Samson Mow's permeable. The Omega candle thing, I think it's just absolutely fun and delightful, but I don't blame him. I was trying to like empathize with his position. What would I feel like if I was in Samson Mow's shoes? This guy, I pulled it up recently. He's gone to Japan to talk to them, Colombia, Costa Rica, Mexico, and Suriname as well, too. He's talking to central bankers and politicians around the world, and I'm sure he's talking to a lot of them in the US and probably home in Canada as well, too. How could he not be outrageously bullish? I would be foolish to think that he maybe doesn't have some information that we don't have.
Yeah. And it will take time. As I said, bureaucracy, it's not just exclusive to the US, it's going to be everywhere. But each one of these things is a touch point. And just to clarify kind of my position here, I'm not cheering on the idea that governments will own Bitcoin. I'm mostly just observing the fact that game theory is playing out as anticipated, that people are realizing that the writing is on the wall. Bitcoin Well is the best place to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with Bitcoin Well Infinite, it's also the best place to be making large buys at their OTC desk of over $50,000. Their white glove service gives you fast transactions, no slippage, and the lowest fees. You can scan the QR code on the screen or simply head to bitcoinwell.com/BTC sessions to sign up today. And you can share your own personalized referral link to earn commissions.